In this video, we'll sit in on a Q&A facilitated by various members of the Focus program staff. If you have questions that may not have been answered in this video, you can always jump right over to the Contact Us page on our website and send us your questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them.
And with that in mind, we're going to call Deborah up and Tom and Carol. And I'm going to turn off this, and we're going to use the handheld, and we're going to kind of wrap it up before the Huntleys get here today. We want to give you an opportunity to make any comments that you would like to make and to ask any questions that you would like to ask, okay? We have about 8 or 9 minutes. Also, I want to take this opportunity to mention that in your and we'll do this. Let me see this in just a minute. You can go ahead if you would like to pull this out. This is the evaluation for the day. And we won't take these up yet because we do have something here at the bottom with the Huntleys that we're going to have to fill out. But would you read those questions and start thinking about those? And this is really not the time to fill this all out because I want y'all to ask us questions and let us make some closing comments, but I just wanted to make you aware that in case the Huntleys come in and I have to introduce them, I didn't want to pull it out all at once, okay? So I'm going to turn this off.
Does anybody have a question that you've thought of since this morning that has not been answered? Okay, well, I've got 3 things that I thought of that I wanted to mention to you. First of all, when Tom, that year he came and spoke to Sylacauga, the next year he was sharing a bunch of statistics. He came back and met with my Focus kids twice, and one of the things that he shared with me and my kids that staggered us off our feet was that Talladega County in 2006 was #1 in the world in syphilis. Now that just knocked us crazy because little old Talladega County, not just in the state, not just in the nation, in the world, was the statistic. That let me know immediately that we were not teaching it. The kids didn't know anything about STIs, HIV, nothing. So that was another reason that I got really hard and heavy getting Focus going. Another thing I wanted to share with you, Sue mentioned YRBS. Tom mentioned the YRBS. You know, we tie a lot of our focus that we do with y'all and Focus schools to that survey. I did the Focus schools, our Focus school did the survey for 7 years in a row. And Sue got some of the data and was able to send it to the evaluations, and we did some research on what we were doing and how, you know, where we began and where we ended. It wasn't easy, I will tell you that. You know, we started off on paper, and then we went to online, and so we had to get every kid in the high school on a computer to take the survey, and I pared it down. The YRBS total has great questions that I did not choose to keep on there, like, are you a potato, couch potato? Do you eat your veggies like you're supposed to, so many a day? You know, are you physically active? A lot of good questions that a health teacher would want to know, but I was more interested in the risky behaviors part, so I pared it down to a 93 question. It was more than that at the time, but it can be done, so if you're interested, you know, I can talk to you about that. And another thing I wanted to just bring out, the Focus group activity that y'all did. That is an international name and an international tool. It really has nothing to do with our name. Okay, so when you go back to your schools, don't call your program the Focus group, because business industry, anybody that does focus groups will think something else. Okay, because what we just did with you today is a tool that is used by all industries for gathering information. So we're Focus, that's all you have to say. We are Focus. And it doesn't stand for anything, does it?
I have a prize if you can think of it.
But anyway, I have a lot of schools that will say our focus group, and I bite my tongue because I want to give them the little lecture. It's not the focus group, it's focus. So anyway, Deborah, got anything else to add? Yes.
Years ago, when we did something like this, had the health department come in, when I was at the high school level, I was told by my principal, and this was years ago, that in order to participate in that session that they had, I had to get permission slips from the parents of the students. Is that true today or not?
For younger grades, I did. When we went, I took Tom to Pinecrest, fourth and fifth graders, and we did get permission slips sent home. The parents agreed. Had 2 parents that showed up and sat in on the meeting in the back of the room. But most of the high school, I did not get parental permission. Now, when we started the survey, the YRBS survey, I wrote up a proposal, and I had a copy of the survey, and I took it to the Board of Education, the superintendent. They put me on the agenda for the Board of Education, one of the meetings before the year we were going to do this, and I got approval from our Board of Education and the superintendent to do the survey. So I did start at the top and get permission for that, because it does ask so many questions that some parents would, and y'all have heard it all day, parents getting upset. But I covered my bases. If they approved it, then it was okay. And the principal, I've always had principals that were on board, and that helps.
Let me just add, though, you don't want to go into your school board or to your administrators and say, can we give this survey? It asks 6 questions about sex. I want you to look over it. What you got to do is lay the groundwork, like she said, and they shared that with their school board. We're leading the world in syphilis in Talladega County, and they're going, oh, yes, whatever you want to do. You lay the groundwork, give them the statistics, and then go from there. Thank you, Carol. Great job. All right, yes.
A question about Tom and what exactly you share when you come into the schools. I mean, you give the same type presentation you give us, or I just want to know, going to my principal when I asked to bring you in as a speaker, what exactly do you cover or what have you?
It's all age appropriate, and it's all factually based, and I've been doing this 43 years. I've not gotten one teacher fired. Because what I understand as an educator, not as a teacher, if you came to my office and asked to use my phone for 30 minutes, and when you left, I might or might not have a job, that's what you're asking or allowing me to do when I come in, and I guard that very, very carefully. It's age appropriate. We talk about all the same things we talked about today. It's just what it is, and we can give them references, and I'm actually doing the Holiness Women's Synod international thing coming up July 25th, and I'll do the same talk for them.
And I can also provide a letter for your school nurse, your counselor, your administrators, that you have covered your requirement for HIV for your school, and I can put that in their folder. Anybody have a question or anything for Deborah? Deborah's going to make a final comment.
Any questions at all? I've already received some emails wanting to know how to receive the implementation guide, and I'll pass it back to Sue. But one thing I like to add when we talk about bringing in vendors to your school, the question of age-appropriate material just came up, and that just reminded me. We've done some health fairs where vendors had to actually submit whatever literature that they were bringing, so it could be reviewed by the principal and the school nurse. So keep that in mind when you are inviting vendors, because you don't want a parent to get upset because something was passed on that they did not approve, and making sure that they're bringing in age-appropriate material. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I want to address the email that Deborah received regarding our implementation guide. We do have one over there in print, But, you know, as most of you are, we're going green and we're not doing a lot of printing anymore. So that is on our facilitator page. And let me remind you, as soon as you register, almost immediately, you're going to get a letter of confirmation that we have received your registration. And in that letter will be a password, a username and a password for you to get on. So put that somewhere and keep it, and you can always get on the website with your username and password. And all this today is going to be on there, and all our materials will be on there. I had a thought that just evaded me. Oh yeah, one other thing I want to say. That thing that's mentioned in that letter of confirmation. When you start Focus, and I go to different schools' websites all the time to look, and I'll see all the things that are on the website, your school calendar, you know, all that, and I'll see clubs. And if you're extracurricular, Focus needs to be on there. You can go to our website and get all the information you need to put your description of Focus there. Put your officers there, put your pictures and, you know, that sort of thing there. You can put your meeting schedule if you're after school, set those dates now for the whole year, maybe the second Tuesday or whatever you're going to meet and the time, and get those on your website, and that's very helpful.